to the road to growth, success of an entrepreneur.
We've raised the bar.
Learn firsthand from successful business owners and create your own path to success.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
It's time to hit the road to growth with team lead of the Enriquez Group, Realtor Vinny.
Hi, you Road to Growth listeners. Today I have Kirsha Campbell, CPA trainer, author, CMA speaker. The list goes on and on. And when you hear her talk, you're going to realize that she's from New Jersey. I'm joking. Jamaica. All right. Thank you, Kirsha, for being here.
And thank you so much for having me, Vinny, and all the work you're doing. It's amazing, the impact. Thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I saw your face, and if you're listening to us audio, you missed her face just drop when I said that. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm really New Jersey." That's what he thought. But yeah, from Jamaica. When did you come out here from Jamaica to the United States?
I came about 9 years ago. Yes, 9 years ago, I left from Jamaica to Canada. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Canada. Okay.
Yes.
Well, so walk us through a young kid. Who was a young Kirsha in Jamaica?
A young Kirsha was, I went through various things as a child. I was not very athletic, so that led me a lot of times to be the last one picked at physical education by my friends. I had those. I was always an organizer too. I'm the only girl in my family, so I was kind of next to my mom, organizing, planning, managing finances. So that was it. I was very shy and timid growing up. I do remember that I was afraid to talk. So it's like it's like a 180-degree turn now, being a speaker, author, and all that. So it's been quite a journey, and it's really exciting.
Well, you said that you were kind of the planner and you were also the organizer, doing the finances. At how young of an age were you kind of assisting your mom and taking on that role?
From high school. So that was being a teen. I started high school at, I think, 10 or 11. So it was in that period. So I would be there. My mom would go away for the holidays, and I would be managing, paying the bills, buying food, and just taking care of the home, ensuring this is done. So when I reflect, I realize I really started that early in this whole financial world.
Did you take on the role with happiness, excitement, or were you kind of forced into the role?
To be honest, I just saw it as what I had to do. It was just, there was no resistance. I just knew that growing up, this was what I had to do in terms of responsibility. As a girl growing up in Jamaica, most times you have to take on that role of the home, ensuring it's clean. It's like by default, right? And it was just something I knew that I just had to do. My father was away most of the time, so I just knew that I had to support my mom, my brothers, other persons who are always at our home in just the best way I could.
What is the schooling system in Jamaica? Do you pick a kind of a major, how they do in Europe, or is it general like they do in the US, or what's the process in Jamaica?
Well, definitely you can pick your majors from high school. You can start focusing on, are you going to do the sciences, chemistry, biophysics, or are you going to do the arts? You are able to choose your streams. And of course, in university, you again are able to choose as well.
So what was your path at a young age in like high school and university? What were you kind of focusing on?
Initially, I focused on the sciences. I was en route to be a pediatrician. And then I got a block when it came to physics. And it's something I always think about. I was like, I should have probably pushed more, got support, additional tutoring. And so that was it. I was en route to do medical in the medical world, and then I was introduced to accounting in fourth form. Yeah, so probably that's grade 6 or 5 equivalent. But anyways, I fell in love initially. I was just automatically good at it, and I was like, okay, I'll switch courses and go that path. So that was kind of the process I did go through with, choosing my career path.
And then from university, were you working simultaneously while you're going to school, or was it university and then jumping into the workforce, or what was the process like back home?
So I would work summers,
Okay.
summer breaks during school. It's not that easy in Jamaica to have a job while you're going to school. There are not a lot of options at that time. So after university, then I went straight into the workforce, and I decided I was gonna complete my accounting designation. That was a struggle because I don't know what was happening, if I wasn't focused enough. Sometimes I'm not too sure, but I was just not passing. I would probably miss it by a mark. And it was a huge struggle because based on my track record and what's expected, it was like this would not be a hurdle. I remember one of my friends, she was like, Kirsha, seriously, why are you not passing? I mean, this is not you. And I had to go to those struggles to really, there's so much you go through when you're failing, right? It questions your self-worth, it questions your value. I mean, you are in the corporate world working, and you don't have your designation, right? Because that is it. The designation tells so much. So that was a huge hurdle for me, completing my designation. And I went through so many emotions, your self-worth, is this worth it? Trying so many different things. So eventually I did pass, and I was pretty excited.
What were your family very supportive, friends? I mean, you're saying going through the emotions of not passing, kind of slowly missing it. What was your support system?
Well, definitely my family, my mom was always supportive, keep trying, go again. I didn't get a lot of pressure from my bosses, my directors in the corporate space. However, you do know that if you're failing, you're just not going to be advancing as much. So they had no question about if I could do the job. However, you just didn't have that to show that, for the record, you did have it. So I felt inferior. I felt like I was a failure. I thought, what was wrong? Why can't I just pass? I think it was probably the first time in my life I was failing exams, because I went through high school, university pretty good. And it led me to question myself a lot, to wonder, you know, am I really who I say I am? Am I like an imposter? Am I like just going off course with life? Or is my life just like a huge failure? Is this the end? And it's really interesting when you look back to see the lessons that I learned, because I'd wanted to specialize in a certain area when it in the accounting world of designation. There are different areas you can specialize in. So initially I was going to specialize in that, focus on when you are like in the audit world and taxes. However, after being in the corporate world for a while, I realized that I wanted to go deeper behind what was happening, beyond the numbers, I call it. I wanted to dive deeper into what was happening in the organization. And then that my constant failures led me to, okay, I could try specializing in this area. It got me really excited, getting into key indicators, budgets, growth of the company, profits, all that, cash flow. So it eventually led me to change the area in accounting that I would specialize in. And that was like a light bulb moment for me that gave me options. Still, I was sad that I kept failing, but I'm happy that I eventually changed my specialized area in accounting for my designation.
Now, once you pass, what's the process next? Are you staying with that same company? How long are you with that company for? What's next after you pass?
So after I passed, I was actually in Canada already. I transitioned to Canada. That's another story. So I'd already transitioned to Canada, and then I was still working in corporate, in large organizations, government, health authorities, and so forth. And after my twin babies were born, I realized that I need to take that step to really start my own business, my own journey, which is something that was on my list of things to do over the years. So that was how I eventually transitioned into having my own business.
What brought you to Canada?
To be honest, growing up, I always liked traveling. I always liked exploring new places. We actually visited Canada's family growing up, and the States. So while I finished high school, I was there working in corporate in Jamaica. I wanted a change, and I said I got the opportunity to come to Canada. I had family here in Canada, and to complete my designation. And it was a tough decision. It was a lot of mixed emotions. I was excited, I was sad, I was having second guesses because at that point in my corporate career, I was next to the director, the manager, the financial, the director of finance and so forth. And we had a tightly knit management team, a tightly knit team, and we had great plans for the company, in terms of transition and growth. And I felt like I was disappointing my bosses, my directors. So I grappled with that a lot. I remember my VP, he was crying when I was leaving, and I was just so broken. I was like, what am I doing here? I'm just messing up the plan. So I did struggle with that leaving, and I knew it was something I really wanted to do. I knew that if I did it, I would have less regrets than if I did not do it. It's one of those things where you just want to do it and see what happens. If you fail, if you have to change course, fine, but you just want to do it. And I did it in spite of all the mixed emotions.
Did you see when you went to Canada a difference how business, how work was looked upon, like compared to Canada and Jamaica? I mean, what were the differences, if there were any differences?
Yeah, there were lots of differences. There are differences with the culture, how certain businesses are operated. I was leaving from Jamaica where it was very, very strictly regulated. We had tight controls in the company. There were a lot of that. And I was exposed to some companies here. Not all companies are like that, but where things are not that, regulated, that strict. And that was a culture shock for me. Another one was with the terminology. Accounting is universal, but there were some terminologies that were different, and I had to grapple with that. I remember once one of my bosses here, they were like, why can't you just use our terms? And, I felt a little broken there because I was like, here I am, an immigrant, a new immigrant. I don't know all the Canadian terms. I'm doing my best. So I did have a lot of that just in terms of approach. In Jamaica, for some people you work nonstop. That was me working nonstop. And in Canada, when in a particular company I was with, I realized that it doesn't matter what is happening. They're going on their vacation, they're going on their leave. So it was quite an eye opener for me to see just how just the culture are different, how you approach work and so forth are really different.
Where do you think that comes from, that mindset? I mean, that it sounds like a lot of people, I guess in Canada, when you were there around you, were just focusing on work and living to work, while in Canada, they had more of an idea that, hey, we need to have a good life, a good quality life. Where do you think that idea in Jamaica comes from of I need to work, I have to work, I have to make money?
It comes from just that need to survive. You need to make ends meet. You need to, and a lot of it too, you grew up seeing your parents, those around you working a lot. So you think that if you take a break or take a vacation, you're looked upon strange or you're frowned. You feel guilty, because I remember there are times, even if I took a day off from work in Jamaica, and if you're going to just relax, that you were seen, oh, you're looked upon different, and you start to feel like, okay, you're doing something so wrong. So just that culture, just the way of life, it's different, just how you're perceived. And I use culture broadly because even more than culture is who those persons who are around you, who you're seeing, because you can come from the same country, but you're around different persons, and that immediate circle will impact you. And that's one of the things. So it was a good learning experience, learning to rest and take breaks. I mean, we can't go wrong with that, right? So that was definitely something that resonated with me when I did relocate.
How long did it take you to feel it was okay once you moved to Canada and started taking breaks? Was it fairly quick, or was it something over time where you basically still felt like you were doing something wrong when you were taking breaks or taking vacations and things like that?
It took me a few years to really realize that it was okay, and I need to think about health, and it's having that integration. I don't use the word balance. I use integration when it comes to all the moving parts in your life. So it did take me a few years to realize that it's okay. It's okay that you go to the gym, you take care of your body, you go on a vacation. Those things are okay. So after transitioning a few years and seeing successful people around me, VPs, directors, they are prioritizing their family, they are prioritizing their health, they are, you know, they're not working until wee hours of the night, even when you have crunch time reporting with the government and so forth. They'll work late, but it's not all the time, right? There's a specific reason. So that really led me to realize that I had to really review my life and my focus and priorities for sure.
Now you get the idea that you want to start your own business and start your own company. What was that transition like? Was it a quick one? Hey, I'm going to leave here. Was it a slow burn? What was that transition like for you to start your own business?
It was not an easy transition. I actually, after I had my twin boys, I went back to work. I was working and coming home with them. It was a very intense period, very, very intense. And then I was just alone there. And most of my family had relocated to another part of Canada. And then I decided it was time. I needed more support. It was just not working. It was just too intense. And so then I relocated with the intention, okay, I will, go back to work. However, after I relocated, I realized that I really wanted to, they were getting older. I wanted to spend more time with them. I'd always toyed with the idea of homeschool and working from home, having more flexibility and options. And it was time. So it wasn't an easy transition because, again, a lot of persons around me, that's not the norm. And that's, again, leads to the importance of who your circle is, who those who are around you are. So it wasn't easy. A lot of my immediate friends, they're not doing that. So it led it to, are you doing the right thing? Or you looked upon as strange or frowns or so it led me to really just be more confident and certain about what I wanted, because sometimes if you are not confident, you can just be easily swayed. If you're having double-mindedness or swerving uncertainty, then it can really get you all over the place. And you will have moments where you're not certain, but if it's something ongoing that you never ever say, okay, I'll make this decision, however it turns out fine, then it can really get you in a bad spot. And I had periods of those, but it's just about taking those baby steps to move away from those spiraling, confusing moments and chaotic moments.
Well, again, people go away either from fear or towards pleasure. What was pushing you through those low moments to say, I need to start my own business and not go back to a steady paycheck?
I realized that, to be honest, the more I read about those who were ahead of me in this journey, who were more successful, I realized that it did give me so many more options, and especially realizing the importance of a lifestyle where you have integration, you go on vacations, you can just relax with your little ones, or even if you don't have little ones, relax and do other things apart from work. That really pushed me to really do it. And another thing, a lot of times I want to always do my best at everything. I always want to do my best. So I didn't want to start and stop. I wanted to just keep going and see how this reached out. And sometimes there was a lot of fear. I was fearful to go back to that space of being burnt out and overworked. I didn't want to go back there. I wanted a different quality of life for sure.
Now, you go on the path of starting your own business. What were some of the hiccups, hurdles, and kind of building your brand and kind of starting your own business?
Definitely, there were quite a few. One of them I recall was the fact that I'm an immigrant, right? So you have that difference with how you speak, how you might relate. So having that transition, that as an immigrant, that was one of the hurdles. I had to really look within myself and realize that I did have value. I brought something to the table, or as the saying goes, I could create my own table. And I remember when I was offered, there was a project at the Chamber of Commerce, and they needed an accountant to come in, and I was like, okay, can I do this? I questioned myself. I was like talking myself out of it, and I did it. And that project opened up so many doors for me to be on the board of the Chamber of Commerce into other, areas as well. So it really opened the door. So that was one of the challenge, being an immigrant and just having self-confidence. Another one, which is so common, is that you think you know everything. Oh, I don't need support, or I can do this. I'll figure all this out. It can't be that hard. And oh, it's not that easy. You need support. And that was one of the things I was very hesitant in getting support. I took too long to get support. So that was definitely one of the challenges in the beginning, where you really underestimate the dynamics of having a successful business and so forth, the various moving parts. So that was another hurdle I had to overcome. That you have to keep going, you have to get support. You can't do everything yourself. No way.
Did you lean into the idea that you were a immigrant in Canada, or did you try to hide the idea? And it's hard to hide that with your accent. Yeah, I mean, there's things that we do that we feel that we're ashamed of, that we shouldn't be ashamed of, but we try to hide
Exactly.
it. Were you hiding it, or were you leaning into it?
That's an interesting question. I think for most times it was quite obvious. I didn't experience initially. I didn't experience a lot of racism or adversity. There were sprinkles of it throughout my journey, but I was pretty. I didn't want. I definitely didn't hide it. It was who I was, and I was happy and thankful for where I was from. And what it led me to do, though, was to really embrace the other cultures around me. So it wasn't like, I think, and that will impact you if you come as an immigrant wherever, and you're like just wanting to stick, and this is what I do, this is what I'm used to. You're not open to learning or to experiencing from other persons. So that is it. So I realized that in order to grow, I had to embrace other cultures. So I had to understand where they were, what they were doing, hanging out with them, eating with them, and so forth. So they were excited to learn about me, so that made me very happy to share about where I was from and so forth. So definitely, I didn't hide it. I wasn't ashamed of it. I've never been. The only thing I can think of are times when, because you are belittled, because you are an immigrant or even a woman immigrant, those are moments that make you just kind of have that review of where you are, what you stand for, and so forth. So those are moments where you will rethink what you're about. And then again, most times when persons are ill-treated, it's more something with them. That's another thing that I've learned, because I'm like looking at myself, okay, is it because of how I talk? Why are they doing this? And that's never justified, right? Never justified.
Well, in those situations, do you fight back or turn the other way?
I turned the other way. There was an instance where one of my superiors, they were like, "I never understand you," and even a colleague as well. And I felt very broken, because I was like, everybody else in this company who I talked to, they understand me. They're not, they would just have this expression as I'm talking, and it's like nothing I said they could understand. And it led me to, I didn't get boisterous or so. I just, okay, quietly. And then it made me to realize that, okay, when I'm going to talk with this person, I will just probably word it different, or just try to ensure that they understand and so forth. But it can get you really broken, because if it's like a roadblock, and you're constant, or a wall, you're constantly being up against this wall, as you're going through there. I don't understand you. Why can't you be different? And if you again are not confident in who you are, then again it will cause you to retaliate in wrong ways. But I didn't bash them or anything. I was just more leaning to understand where they were coming from, because some people are coming from different areas, different points in their journey in life. So that will impact how they relate to you as well.
Do you think a young Kirsha would have been willing to turn the other way? Because that's a very, I think, something that I think you learn for most part over time. Like a word you said right there was, hey, I'm trying to figure out where they're coming from. I mean, the baggage that they have, and that's why they're coming with this. But that's a very thing that you learn over time. So do you think a young Kirsha would have done the same thing and reacted in the same way?
No, young Kirsha just have cried, because I do remember growing up at points I was bullied or treated badly from my friends or even adults, and I would just cry. I just didn't think about why they were doing it. All I could see at that age was I'm being treated badly or unfairly, and I'm just crying. I'm not thinking about where they're coming from. I'm just saying I'm hurt. And yeah, so I would just cry. I was a crier. I'm still a crier.
Is there anything, looking back again at a young Kirsha, or a person that's looking to kind of find out their footing in life? Is there any advice you might give that person in trying to find their path?
Definitely be true to who you are. And when I say that, what I mean is I suppressed so many emotions growing up. I was even having a conversation just this week about it. I suppressed, if I was feeling angry or if I was feeling fearful, I was afraid to say or, acknowledge that was how I was feeling. I thought I was just being bad to feel this way. So when you are true to yourself, I'm having a bad day, I'm feeling frustrated, I feel scared, I feel stupid, whatever you feel, that's the starting point. And then you handle it, you deal with it, get whatever support, read or pray, whatever you need to do. But that starting point, acknowledging, being honest about how you feel, where you are in your journey in life, that is definitely important. Something that I'm learning more of, that it's okay. And another thing, because depending on your personality too. So I'm more a leader. I'm more, wanting to go get things done, that kind of person. And it's a rough time, I'm going to find a way to go through and maneuver. And because you are just strong, and especially as a woman, that, okay, this will be done, it's tough, you'll stay up whatever night, it will be done. That leads you to just not get in touch with your emotions, which is something that I was just not doing for years, right? And that is just not the best way to grow and go through life. So definitely seek always to get in touch with your emotions. Be honest with yourself. How did this feel? How does this make me feel? How does this person make me feel? And not only that, to why. So dive deeper into why you're feeling this way. Why is this happening? Why are you reacting this way? Sometimes you might not be able to figure it out on your own, but that will help you in so many areas of your life, with your business, your family, relationships, with the choices you make as well.
You talked about the idea of the journey, and you're still trying to figure out the journey. Let's say we're talking in 5 years from now. Where's Kirsha going to be? Where's your business going to be?
Definitely 5 years from now, I would be expanding into more countries, touching a whole lot more lives, offering different models. I started training executives in the Caribbean, Asia this year. So definitely just expanding the various methods and means of connecting with persons, teaching them about the importance of having successful, profitable businesses that have cash flow.
Well, thank you, Kirsha, for being here. If someone's listening right now and they want to grow their band, hear more about your speaking engagements, find your books, find more information about you, what's the best way for them to find that information?
So my website is www.thecashlab.ca. Pretty simple. CashCASHLAB.ca. Or you can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm just there as Kirsha Campbell. I'm happy to hear from you. So you can send me a message or so. That's fine. Yeah.
Thank you, Kirsha, for being here. I think you probably, everyone can remember that Cash Lab. That's an easy one right there. That's a good one.
Yes.
I can't believe that wasn't taken right there.
Yeah, easy is good. Simple.
Well, thank you, Keisha, for being on the Road to Growth podcast. Hopefully everyone listening got some great nuggets. It doesn't matter where you are today, what country you're living in, anything's impossible. Anything is possible if you just have a dream and a want for it. Thank you again. Everyone, please subscribe, please share, and go find Cash Labs. Bye, guys.